right, so look at that. That is awesome. So we had someone literally cut us off, and you know, the Robotaxi was able to adjust to that and slow down. What's up, everyone? So I'm going to be doing a ride in a Robotaxi, and we are going to compare it against Uber, Lyft, and just do the comparison. And I've already pulled all of the numbers, and what we were able to see for this drive, that it was $20 on the Robotaxi, it was about $25 on Uber, and $23 on Lyft. So there have been situations where, you know, actually the Robotaxi is more expensive, and typically that's been on the longer drives. But on short distances, Robotaxi has been king. So we're gonna do this drive, see how it handles. Thanks again for tuning in, and let's get into it. All right, so we are just about to get into the Robotaxi. All right, so it's coming, and you could actually see it kind of go around that person. I'm gonna walk up. That's pretty cool. Yeah, we have going right now, and hopefully it will stop. So it looks like it's actually, so that's kind of crazy. It's literally parking so that I can get into it. And actually, look at this. This is a launch edition series. Pretty cool. We're gonna get in. What's up? How's it going?
Going well. How are you doing?
Doing good. Excited to...
Your first ride?
No, it's probably like my 10th. I did a bunch in Austin and just had an errand, so I thought I'd capture some footage.
So you're familiar with the music?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Feel free to adjust how
We're gonna start the ride and we're gonna head there. But yeah, I had not experienced the typically it just pulls up and pauses and waits for you to get in. So it was pretty crazy just to see it pull into a parking spot so that I could get in. And again, you can just see that here. And I know, I believe Tesla has started now adding stops. So you can actually add stops into the ride. In Austin, they have actually, really improved like being able to come to the customer and stuff. I think it was kind of one of the critiques initially. So this one, like I said, thankfully I was in a location where it pretty much came to me and even parked right in front of me. And here, as you may know, in California, unfortunately, there is laws where I think a certain amount of miles need to be driven by a safety driver. So that's why here, at least in California for now, we have the safety drivers in the driver's seat. But Austin, you have the driver seat, no one's there except when they go on highways. So that's the big thing here. And again, I wonder if they added a couple more things. I don't know, I feel like the UI just seems a little bit different. And what's this? So that's the music. And then you may remember, right, we have the full drive up here with, it tells you like, parts where it's slow. And we're gonna make a right here. Don't see anyone over there. So it's super cool. And we know, I believe it was about a week ago, they just opened, I think it was like September 4th, they just opened up the Robotaxi app in the iOS. I don't think it's open to Android yet, or it might be, but either way, you could get waitlisted, but I think it's pretty open now. So I think people can actually just hail rides. And so I think, we know Tesla is just ramping right now. They're all of the rides, really the cars. And so you might have a little bit extra, wait time. But, I was doing an errand and I knew it, so I hailed it, and it was just perfect timing. So, but again, this is just the launch, so it's just some of the stuff where, as they're ramping vehicles. I think last I heard, again, this is like 3 or 4 weeks ago, but they had 50 cars, and I think they were trying to ramp to 100. So I'm not sure really where they're at now, but I would assume they've increased that because of the fact that it's now, they have 400 square miles of this. So yeah, so again, for those that may be just tuning in, just to walk you through the UI, we have a pull over button. You press that, it's going to pull over to a safe location, and then typically, the support will get on the phone within a couple minutes. Or if you just have a question or something else, maybe there's something going on, you can actually just press the support button. And then again, you can click on the music, obviously scan the code there. Then they got a bunch of games here, which, you know, I think all of those look new, but this UI here just looks little bit different. But again, it's been a minute since I've been in one. So we're gonna be there in 14 minutes. And the Robotaxi actually, again, this is a different software than, you know, FSD supervised, but they are using standard mode. So there's like, I think there's like chill, standard, and hurry. So at least the Robotaxi mode that they use is just built in standard. And also too, kind of funny, it's always my OCD with software updates. It looks like this Robotaxi needs a software update. So not sure if that's, you know, how these builds are working, but all right, so yeah, we kind of had like a stop there, but again, it's partially because this truck slowed down. And you'll notice, I think, again, if you're here in the Bay Area, you'll probably notice the differences, maybe potentially with some of the safety drivers. How this safety driver is driving is typically how I drive in general. When I'm doing FSD supervised, I'm like a lot more like relaxed and just kind of like watch what's transpiring, and I'm ready to take over at any point. Versus, you know, we've seen some of the other ones who kind of, you know, really just like hover their hands over the wheel. But really, you know, and I think actually they just increased the number of people that can get in the ride to up to 3. So, but all that to say is that, you know, this is, it'll be really cool as they start to just ramp this. So interesting enough, in some of the other rides that I had done, you can actually see the sunshades were there, and I think that's because maybe it was like kind of, so look at that car came out and it moved over to the right. That's awesome. But yeah, in some of the other rides I did during the summer, like early April or early August, it was insanely hot and they had a bunch of sunshades, so I don't know if they took those out, but this one is a launch edition. So, all right, we're gonna make a right here onto the highway. It's just, and I think what I continue to be amazed by is just two things, right? A lot of things, but just two things right now is the fact that you can hail a ride through, you know, a Tesla app called the Robotaxi. And two, this car is already being mass produced today. It's the best-selling car in the world. And so yeah, we're gonna get over, no issues there. And you know, the reality is that this is not, you know, a proof of concept. This is a car that can be bought, and you can, you know, it's just going to be a software update based on regulations and stuff, where you can just literally just throw it into the Robotaxi network. And Tesla has built all that. They are not partnering with Uber at all. Elon's been very public about that. You know, it's partially because like they don't need them. They have their own vehicles. They have their own software built. All right, so we're getting in the middle lane. And we are getting in the carpool lane. That's awesome. And obviously, I would assume it knows there's two people in the car, because obviously there's a ride, because otherwise, you know, it would not be able to get into the carpool lane unless there's 2 or more people. All right, so look at that. That is awesome. So we had someone literally cut us off, and you know, the Robotaxi was able to adjust to that and slow down. So shout out to the red Honda CR-V for cutting us off to capture that footage. But yeah, that's what you want to see, right? I mean, you're going 60 miles an hour, 50 miles, whatever it was. I wasn't looking at the speed exactly, but to see it react to that is awesome. And it reacted perfectly. Like, you know, I didn't feel like we got too close. We had enough space, and maybe it's partially because the cutoff was not too aggressive, but you know, we'll see. All right, so we're exiting here. We're getting in the left lane. And we got about 6 more minutes. And we are here, I believe this is Los Altos and Sunnyvale on the right. Shout out to the Lucid in front of us. All right, so we're making a left here. Perfect left. And getting in the right lane. Looks like these lanes merge anyways. And there was a yellow light, so it stopped. All right, so if we just quickly look at the map, we got, we're gonna be going down this block and then making a right up here. So again, look at that. That's a Model S with a rack that looks like it can take a canoe. Probably what it is. But yeah, this drive's been perfect. Experienced something new today. Just seeing it park in a parking spot versus just kind of waiting as most people would, but it's a good thing, right? I mean, that's what you want to see, and we see that and experience that every day in our Model 3s and Ys. We experience that every day because we have park to park. It's just a button. And so the fact that it can do that, we already know the technology's here. So we're going to be making a right, and it's going to have to yield. All right, so we're gonna, looks like no one is down there. So we're gonna see this just, all right, so we're hitting, there's a 1-lane road. So it looks like obviously this is kind of just during a, it's around, what is it? Almost 5 o'clock on, a weekday afternoon. And so, you're kind of hitting the regular traffic and congestion on some of these streets here. So we've got another mile. And about 4 minutes. Man, I am seeing so many new Model Ys on the road. And the way you can actually here in California see the Robotaxi is, I believe here in California it's a law. You have to, if you have a fleet, you have to put this TCP and this whole like VIN or like identification number. So at least here in California, they're not allowed to use, and I guess it's actually like a kind of state law or something. Like you're not allowed to use the taxi in the name, Robotaxi or whatever. So kind of a bit of a bummer. But in Austin, you can see the little Robotaxi on the side. And Tesla actually just got the license and movement in Nevada to do autonomous vehicles. So Zoox just launched there in the Las Vegas Strip too. So really, like I said, all of the, I think the great thing is that we know it's going to take multiple companies to get this thing done. And so Waymo has kind of paved the way in some of these from a regulation standpoint. So Tesla it'll make it a lot easier for Tesla kind of to get in there. All right, so my trip is almost done. So make sure to gather your belongings. I do need to make sure I do that because last time I left my wallet in one of these and had to go through the whole lost and found experience. And thankfully they found it. And that wasn't me just doing a test. Like it legitimately was like, I had no idea where my wallet is. So we got a minute. We're going to make a left and then a right. Yeah. And one thing, shout out to the Tesla team. They really do make these cars clean and take care of them. So it's interesting. We'll see where this stops. I'm going to wait the whole time. All right, so we're making pretty much a U-turn here. So I'm wondering if it got confused or something, because it should not. I mean, it looks like it's literally going to go to the same spot that Or maybe, yeah, let's see. Oh, interesting. Okay, so it should have made a right there, not do this complete U-turn. But again, we're gonna see where this thing stops. Or maybe it's just it's never been to this geofence or this parking lot, so it's learning real time. So, but again, that's why we're capturing this footage and doing this ride, because this is just a cool experience. So, okay, so it is potentially, this thing might be lost. Or it just wants to loop each one, and I'm cool with that. I'm here for the journey. All right, hopefully it does not do a loop again. All right, it's gonna make a right, and look, there's a car right there. Okay, well, it's gonna loop again. I may have to just hit like, we'll just see. I'm either gonna have to hit support or the safety driver will do something, but I also don't want to be running around aimlessly for a bunch of time. So we'll do one more loop, and then if not, it looks like it's kind of navigated to there. So hopefully it just makes this loop and then kind of is able to go out. But otherwise, yeah, let's try something different. Hopefully it goes, all right. Okay, there was another Tesla there, so we'll see. But this thing actually might get stuck. But again, you know, this is all parts of like the testing. You know, this is a geofence. This is, you know, they need data in these locations, right? So, and I do not think, yeah, it's gonna have to make a right, but hopefully it doesn't loop again. Otherwise, I think, boom, there we go. Thank you. All right, so we did like 5 loops there, and now look at this. It's going to pull up right in front. So again, this is why we're doing these drives. It's to, you know, help the system learn things within the geofence. And look at that. So I'm ending my ride. It's pulling up right in front of the hospital. This is exactly where I want to be. And boom, done. All right, so I can open the trunk, contact support. Thank you, appreciate it.
Good day.
All right, so that was amazing. You know, I'm gonna close this door here, and yeah, so I was just really happy to see that happen. But yeah, we're just gonna see this thing pull out and see what it does. You know, I close the door. Obviously, it needs to figure out where it's going to go next. But yeah, this was a really, really good drive, and so, you know, all right, we'll see you later, Robotaxi. Check this out. All right. Thanks for the ride, guys. But yeah, either way, that was great. And again, yeah, it went around like 3 or 4 times, but this is where it's learning it. But it's doing it all autonomously. That's what's huge. So hopefully you enjoy this ride, and we'll catch you on the next one.